Greg Ward is Head of Global Sales and Distribution at ultra-luxury hotel chain Aman Resorts. I met with him in Dubai to discuss the brand's expansion.
Greg, thank you so much for talking to us today. You run the sales at Aman. How have they been going in the wake of the pandemic?
Interesting question, and it's a pleasure to be here, and thanks for your time. The last 14 months have been an interesting journey for us all. We have been operating throughout most of the pandemic in certain areas. We saw China come back very, very quickly, and China became our litmus test in relation to certain protocols, in relation to what guests' expectations are and how we can manage that and get them reintegrated into the Aman experience. And it's gone on from there. If you look at the Americas, where we have 4 properties in the Caribbean, 2 in the Caribbean and 2 in the US, they've done exceptionally well. But it's very much a staycation, starting with the domestic. In actual fact, it was starting with a drive time radius of about 4 hours around each property, and that became our target audience. And then it started to look more of a domestic market in relation to that staycation. And slowly we're now starting to see a level of recovery looking further out, where people are looking at those short haul, cross-border travel experiences. But Oman's been very well positioned. You know, typically our hotels are 35 rooms on average. Our smallest is 10, our largest is 86. So we tend to be very fortunate with the spacing that we have. We've been seen as a company that typically has oases in relation to the COVID time, where people can go away, rest, relax, revitalize and restore.
And how has your marketing strategy changed then to target the domestic markets?
Interesting question. The domestic marketing strategy has been very much looking at our existing customer base and breaking that down by location and looking at where our existing customers are residing. So if you take Vietnam as a location, as an example, Aman Noi has done exceptionally well through the COVID time, just targeting the Oman junkies, as we typically call them. That's a self-professed following of Oman, and enticing them in relation to what Oman delivers within their own environment in Vietnam, and that's been very successful. We've worked very closely with ambassadors, influencers, KOLs. We've worked very closely through social media channels. Certainly Instagram has become a key player in relation to getting those core messages out. And we've also looked at the digital marketing as well very closely in relation to video content to really showcase what we actually have and what we do deliver.
So this new marketing strategy, do you think this is the new normal?
I think it's allowed us to get to know our customers a lot better in relation to our customer profile. I think it will be the new normal, yes, moving forward. Digital is certainly the way forward in relation to customer expectations and experiences and understanding what is available. And I do think with the younger generation coming through, absolutely, that is going to be the new normal. I mean, they're very accustomed to the digital world. So I do see it continuing without any shadow of a doubt.
And do you have 33 resorts?
33 resorts currently across 20 countries.
That's a lot of borders that you need to open in places where they're not open. What government policies are you hoping for in order to get travel moving again?
I think if you look at the variation of the different vaccines that are out there and governmental opinions in relation to certain vaccines, I think there needs to be a general consensus as to the acceptance of vaccines to allow people to come into certain countries. I know IATA has been working on a vaccination passport as well. Very keen to potentially see that come into play. That'll give a lot of accreditation to people traveling. We do it with the ESTA when we travel to the US, and it's all technology driven, and it can actually be done. So I think governments need to learn from each other. I think the UK has done exceptionally well. I think the US has done amazingly well in coming back from where they were. But quite frankly, it's the acceleration of the vaccinations which is really going to make the difference and start to open borders as we move forward.
And despite COVID, your brand is going from strength to strength. You're opening new properties. Can you tell us about that?
We've spent time during COVID looking at new opportunities, also investing within the existing product as well to make sure it is at the level that customers expect within Oman. But with the pipeline of new openings, excitingly this year we will open Aman New York, which is on 5th Avenue and 57th Street. Is actually the Crown building, which Aman owns. And that will open at the end of the year. It's a small property. It's 86 rooms. However, the room size, the smallest room size is 75 square meters. Exceptionally large. Each room has its own fireplace. We also have 22 residents in the building as well. So it's very exciting. We're very much looking forward to that, and we've had tremendous interest in the property already.
And how do you choose a destination for a new resort?
Great question. I think it's driven by customer expectations, for one. And if you look at Aman from a resort perspective, Aman's always sought resort to locations that are inaccessible to a degree, where people actually want to go and discover something new, something different, experience a journey of a lifetime with friends, family, and others. So the resort selection is quite challenging. If you look at the resorts we have in Bhutan, Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam that I mentioned earlier, but now it's going into the urban resort concept. And the first Aman urban resort was actually Aman Tokyo, which opened to much controversy within the travel industry, but it's just been a resounding success. It's incredibly successful, and that really set the scene for looking at other key cities around the world, of which New York is certainly one. We also have Miami announced as well. That'll be opening in 2023. That's the Versailles building on Miami Beach, or the Versailles, what was the Versailles Hotel, which is a magnificent Art Deco building, which Aman is going to restore. And one thing Aman is actually very good at is restoring and bringing things back to life, revitalizing it. The Crown Building in New York is 100 years old this year. So to see that relaunched as a luxury lifestyle experience is going to be very exciting.
And what's the long-term plan?
Long-term plan, as I say, we're a luxury lifestyle brand. Hotels and resorts is one element of what we do. We also are developing residences across the globe. Aman residences, New York, Miami, Bangkok, Tokyo, and many, many more to come. In addition to that, we are in the aviation business. We have an Aman jet. And we're also in the retail business as well. We have our fragrance range. We have our herbal medicine range. We're also developing a clothing range, a clothing line under Aman. So the long-term goal is to be seen as a luxury lifestyle brand within the world as we know it today and for the future.
And any plans in the Middle East?
Middle East, being here today, having something out here will be amazing. And yes, we are developing in Alula in Saudi Arabia, planning to open in 2023. We have 2 Amans, which have been agreed in Alula, and also a Janu. And Janu is our new brand, sister brand, which was launched in New York in March of last year. So very excited about that, and very excited about spending more time out in the Middle East.
Greg, thank you very much for updating us and inspiring us. I am looking forward to visiting that resort when it opens in 23.
Absolute pleasure, and thanks very much for your time.
Thank you.
Pleasure.